Hey, good to
Hi.
see you again.
Hey, congratulations. It is a pleasure to see both of you again since 7 days. This is a
Yeah.
wonderful film.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching it. Hey, so tell us for the both of you, what initially drew you that you wanted to be part of a nice Indian boy project?
Well, we're both gay and Indian, so that was a big part of it.
Mhm.
We're in a real life romantic partnership as well, which I think you know from when we spoke about 7 days. So the idea of making this particular movie together was very moving for both of us. And then more than actually either of those things, the script was just, which is based on a play, was just so funny and emotional.
Karen?
Yeah, same thing. And then the bonus on top of everything was that they asked Roshan to direct it and for myself to be in it. So we had just done 7 days and made that and had a great experience. So we were like, oh, this feels like a great next thing to do together.
Well said. And in this case, for the both of you, because we all know this is highly relatable. So how did you want to basically take this story, make it personally to you, but also to keep with the essence of the story?
Yeah, well, in my experience, the more specific something, and this has been said by many other people other than me, but the more specific something it is, the more universal it is. So we dove hard into the particularity of the culture and the people, knowing that that would make it more broadly accessible. So the movie is for everyone, every person alive. It tested highest among straight white women.
That is quite actually impressive. And in the case, how different is this from the play? I'm assuming it's probably what the story's more extensive.
It's an expanded version of the play, but the best dialogue and moments are in the play, I would say. And the play is, repeated verbatim in certain sections of the movie.
Karen, t could you tell us about getting into the character for this film and developing a chemistry with Jonathan?
Yeah, definitely. The character felt, even in the play and then in the movie script, it felt like those rare things where it felt like it was written in my voice in a weird way. So it felt a lot of the dialogue, everything came very naturally. The scene that kind of hooked me on early, that gave me an insight into the character, was actually the first scene of the movie where the character's at his sister's wedding and watching all these people celebrate this sort of straight, big Indian wedding and thinking that he'll never have that experience. And sometimes all it takes is like a scene and you go like, oh, I see exactly who this person is in this thing. And the whole movie is about his journey of like getting out of that shell from that first scene. So that was so clear in the script and sort of I zeroed in on that. And yeah, and the Jonathan thing was you can't really create or make chemistry. I think it's either there or not. But I think the one thing that really helps is if you like the person. And we loved him. We got to meet him a year before we made the movie. We had a really nice, like, long dinner. And then we met again on set a year or so later. And he just was he was so prepared, so excited to be there. And he knew how personal this project was for me and Roshan. And he almost acted as if it was as personal for him because he knew how important it was for us. And so I think that infectious energy that he has, it's very easy to fall in love with. You know, so that helped.
Now, Jonathan's character is quite unique because he plays a white guy who gets adopted by Indian parents, and so he has some Indian culture. His character has some Indian culture into him. Can you tell us about how you actually managed to adapt him to Indian culture for the purpose of this film?
We did nothing at all. He did his own research and he would ask questions and we would answer them. But for example, in the movie, he sings a very famous Bollywood song, which we didn't even discuss before he literally sang it. He looked up on YouTube how to sing it, and because he has a musician's ears, he was able to replicate it, including the pronunciation, almost exactly. So he did his own journey, but he's such a good actor, and he assimilates so quickly and readily that he figured it out. And part of the purpose with having a white character have Indian culture is to ask what culture means, because we're in this time where everyone is so obsessed with our differences when the world is actually extremely complex, and people like Jonathan's characters exemplify that complexity.
And when we shot the Meet the Parents scene, that was his first scene he shot in the movie. And I remember at lunch, he was like, this is exactly like my mom and dad and my family. And it was very clear and quickly made sense that it was just like any family. So,
Wow. And speaking of singing and dancing, Karan, I did not know you have th those skills, but I guess that's a requirement of skills for
Yeah.
many
That's-
Indian people. Can you talk about it?
I don't have the skills. I tried my best, and we kept. It was in the script. The late addition to the script. The producers wanted some version of that, and then we came up with this idea of like, okay, maybe let's do a dance at the wedding. And I was so stressed about it that I made Roshan write into the script multiple times that I say I'm not a dancer and I don't dance. Just so that when it got to that day, people were clear that I wasn't bragging about these skills, quote unquote, that I have in the movie. But it was hours and hours of practice to get a mediocre performance, and I don't think
Yeah.
I could do that again.
If he looks like he's dancing well at any point, it's either editing or CGI, but it's not real. But it's weird because Indians are supposed to, Indians all want to dance. We're built with the desire to dance, but that doesn't mean we're built with the ability, and neither of us have it, sadly.
Well, and Marshawn, I know you as a filmmaker you balance between comedy and drama a lot of times. How do you actually handle that, especially going into sort of a romantic comedy like this one?
Well, all you can do is in the comedy scenes make sure it's grounded in emotion, which makes for better comedy anyways. And as long as everything is grounded in the same reality, you can fit a variety of tones into one thing. People actually crave that mixture. In India, when they make movies, they call it masala. A movie has to contain a certain amount of all these different genres, the way that masala spices contain all these different constituent spices. And that was kind of the goal with this movie too. So there's frank, broad comedy sometimes, and then there's also emotion. But because they're all threaded along the same anchor, it somehow all falls together.
And let me wrap it up with one last thing because, the universal message is regardless whether, you're heterosexual or homosexual, you have to win over Indian parents. So, what is the best way to win over Indian parents in the end?
Just complete
Uh,
subservience, I guess.
yes. Ask them questions about themselves, praise their children if they're proud of their children, tell them they were good parents and they did a good job, and then eat the food and say the food's really good. Um, and yeah.
Don't show any sense of like autonomy,
Yeah.
self-worth.
And maybe don't talk politics, but I think that's any
Yeah.
parent.
To the both of you, it's a delightful film. I want to say this is my first gay South Asian film I ever watched, and so
Wow.
this is terrific, and it's great to see both of you again together again.
Yeah, it's so
Thank
great to
you.
see you again. And I'm glad you responded so much to it. The movie, like I said, is really for everyone.
Well said. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye now.